Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the one and only place for your One Piece manga fix. I'm Franky.
And I'm Robin.
And this week, we're breaking down Chapter 1185, The Songless Kingdom. And listen, we have to start at the end. We just have to. Brook kicks down the door to the throne room, ready to save his princess, and instead, he finds a horror show.
A horror show is putting it lightly. He finds King Reuven dead on the floor, and the Princess Shuri standing over him. Except, she's not the Shuri we've known.
Not even close. She has these demonic horns curling out of her head, massive black wings sprouting from her back, and her eyes are just glowing in the dark. Oda draws her face completely devoid of emotion, which somehow makes it 1,000,000 times worse. It's the most terrifying image in this entire flashback. If you want to be here with us for the moment we find out what in the world is going on with this girl, make sure you're following the show. We're going to be losing our minds together next week.
And with that out of the way, I think we need to go back to the beginning, before the smog, before the war. Back when Brook was just a kid, learning how to be a proper gentleman.
A proper gentleman who immediately asks every pretty lady for their underwear. Classic Brook, man. Even as a kid, he's 100% himself. It's perfect. It's so funny to think of this scrawny kid with a huge afro trying to pull off the suave gentleman routine. The two sides of him, the pervert and the gentleman, they weren't developed over time. They were there from the absolute start.
It is. We see him being taken in by Reuven, the future king, and put under the tutelage of this convoy guard, Candelle. She's the one who's supposed to teach him manners. And her design is striking. Tall, stern, with a long fencer's sword. She has the air of a true knight.
And it's not going great. He's calling her the prettiest of all, but then he's immediately asking her if she wears men's underwear. The follow-up is just flawless. He has no shame. Where does he even get these lines from as a kid? It's just baked into his soul.
She beats him down for it, of course. A swift punch to the top of the head. A classic trope. But you can tell she has a soft spot for him. He's this lanky, weird kid, and she agrees to let him wear a convoy uniform instead of a school uniform.
Because he didn't want to be confined. That's such a Brook detail. It's not just about clothes, it's his entire philosophy in one little moment. From this to joining a pirate crew, to his soul literally refusing to be confined by death itself. He's always been about freedom, even then. And she gets it. She doesn't just train his etiquette, she personally trains him in swordsmanship. She's his first real master.
And he clearly idolizes her. He calls her a shining star. That's not just a crush, it's genuine reverence. In his eyes, she's the pinnacle of strength and grace. We get that little moment where he asks her if she's in love with someone, and she admits she is.
But she says the guy is way out of her league, which is why she trains so hard with the sword, just so she can stay by his side. That's some real knightly devotion. It's the kind of loyalty Zoro would respect, you know? It's not about romance, it's about purpose. Her sword has a purpose, and that purpose is protecting him. It's super noble.
And, of course, Brook immediately asks if she's talking about him.
He had to shoot his shot. You can't blame a guy for trying. And she just flat out shuts him down. The comedic timing from Oda, even in a flashback that we know is going to be tragic, is just elite. He can make you laugh right before he rips your heart out.
It establishes their dynamic so well. He's a goofy, well-meaning disaster, and she's the stoic, strong warrior who's trying to beat some discipline into him. But it's clear they care about each other. She's a huge part of who he becomes. She's his first real mentor figure, the one who shapes his view of the world.
Exactly. She's the one who teaches him that strength and etiquette are two sides of the same coin, that you can be a gentleman and still be a total badass. That's the foundation of the Soul King right there. The suave gentleman and the deadly fencer, all rolled into one. It all started with Candelle. He didn't learn that on his own, he learned it from her.
And then the story takes its first dark turn. The tone shifts in a single panel. Brook mentions that one day a world noble washed up on the shore of Esperia.
Ugh, you hear those words, world noble, and you just know nothing good is about to happen. My stomach just drops every single time. It's like a promise of misery. You see that bubble helmet and you know that innocence is about to be destroyed. There is no good story that starts with, and then a celestial dragon showed up.
Brook is very specific with his language. He says that after the celestial dragon left, Candelle was bedridden from fatigue.
Fatigue. Give me a break. That's the most disgusting, cowardly word they could have possibly used. It's the same language they always use to cover up their crimes. It's a poison dart wrapped in silk. We know what they do. We saw it in Sabaody. We know what they did to Fisher Tiger's back, to Boa Hancock and her sisters. They treat people like toys to be broken and then just leave. And the world is expected to call it fatigue? It makes my blood boil.
It's a deliberate sanitization of an atrocity designed to maintain political stability. The Kingdom of Esperia couldn't openly declare that a world noble brutalized their top knight without inviting total annihilation from the Marines. So they use a euphemism. They swallow the poison and smile, because the alternative is to be erased from history. It's the foundational bargain of the world government. Accept our cruelty and silence, or we will silence you permanently.
And it explains so much about Candelle, her serious demeanor, her devotion to getting stronger. It probably wasn't just about staying by Reuven's side anymore. It was about never being that helpless again. She was the kingdom's strongest, and a single spoiled brat with a title broke her. That kind of trauma, it changes you forever.
It also recontextualizes what happens next. After this horrible event, the kingdom rallies. We see panels of everyone with gloomy expressions while she's recuperating. Her spirit is the kingdom spirit. When she suffers, they all suffer. It shows how beloved she was.
But then they get a little bit of light, a super bright light, man. Reuven finally ascends the throne, and he takes Candelle as his queen. The man she thought was out of her league, he chooses her. He saw what happened, saw her pain, and instead of casting her aside or pretending it didn't happen, he elevated her. He made her his queen.
Which is a beautiful moment. It's the one piece of pure, uncomplicated happiness in this entire chapter. He didn't see her as just a guard, he saw her as his queen. It's a testament to his character, and it's a powerful statement against the world nobles. He's choosing to honor the person they tried to break.
And then Shuri is born, and the whole kingdom just lights up. The mood goes from rock bottom to the absolute peak. This is their future, their hope. And Brook is there for all of it. He sees this perfect little family form out of the ashes of that horrible incident. He gets to see his mentor, his hero, find happiness against all odds. That must have meant the world to him.
He tells Shuri that because her parents saved him, he would gladly give his life for them. It's a simple knightly vow, a declaration of absolute loyalty.
But Shuri is sharp. She's just a little kid, but she's got this piercing intelligence in her eyes. She asks him, what if she was in danger? Would he save her? And Brook says, of course, but she pushes him.
She asks, would you only do that because I'm their child? She wants to know if he cares about her, not just her lineage. It's an incredibly insightful question for a child. She's testing the nature of his loyalty. Is it to a title or to a person?
And he pauses, just for a second, but in that second you can see him realize the truth. He's not just guarding the princess, he's protecting Shuri. He tells her he'd save her for who she is. That pause really annoyed her though, which was hilarious. She pouts and calls him slow.
He had to give her candy to cheer her up. It shows how close they've become. He's not just a guard anymore. He's like her big brother. The bond is real. It's not just duty. That pause was him transitioning his mindset from a knight serving a royal family to a brother protecting his little sister.
Yeah, that's the key. This isn't just a job for him. This family, this kingdom, it's his home. It's his first real crew before the Rumbar Pirates, before the Straw Hats. This is where he learned to care that deeply. We always think of the Rumbar Pirates as his first great love and loss, but it started here. This was his found family.
Which makes what happens next all the more tragic. Time passes. Shuri turns 15. She looks so much like her mother. And then the mist rolls in.
Oda is the king of setting up these environmental disasters. The poison gas on Punk Hazard, the Smiley monster, the Aqua Laguna at Water 7, this mysterious mist that corrodes instruments in a kingdom of music. That's pure dread. It's not just destroying their way of life, it's actively and agonizingly killing their nation.
It's slow, agonizing death for a whole nation. And among the lives it claims is Queen Candelle.
No, man, that one just hits you like a cannonball. After everything she went through with the world noble, after finally finding happiness with Reuven and Shuri, she's taken out by some mysterious sickness. There's no big fight, no noble sacrifice. She just fades away. It's just cruel. It feels so meaningless and unfair, which makes the tragedy even more potent.
It's devastating for everyone, and it has immediate political consequences. Without music, the Kingdom of Esperia has no economy. They have no exports, no trade. They can't afford to pay the heavenly tribute.
And here we go again. The world government's entire system is designed to crush anyone who stumbles. There's no grace period, no aid, just punishment. They don't care that your people are dying from a mysterious plague. They just want their money. It's the most predatory system imaginable.
The celestial dragons offer a compromise. They can't pay in gold? Fine. Pay with people. 1,000 slaves. This is a recurring theme. When a kingdom fails, the world government's solution is often to turn its people into property. We saw it threatened against Fishman Island.
1,000 of their own citizens to be handed over to the same monsters who brutalized their queen. And King Reuven, bless this man, absolutely refuses. He knows that's a fate worse than death. This is what a real king does. He stands up for his people, no matter the cost. He doesn't sell them out to save his own skin like so many others would. He's a true king, like Cobra or Riku.
He chooses war over slavery, a war he has no chance of winning. It's a suicide mission, but it's one based on principle. He would rather his kingdom die on its feet than live on its knees as slaves.
The people start panicking, thinking they're all gonna die. You see the despair in the streets. But Brook, man, Brook stands up. He tries to lift their spirits the only way he knows how, with his music. Even with the smog corroding his violin strings, even with everything falling apart, he plays. And it works. He gives them a moment of hope before the end.
It's a beautiful, futile gesture, but it shows his spirit is unbreakable. This is the moment the Soul King was truly born, not on Thriller Bark, but here, in the smog of his dying home. He is the Soul King, even here. He believes in the power of music to its very core. It's his answer to despair.
And then the invasion begins. Marines, world government forces. They descend on Esperia, and Brook is just in the thick of it, trying his best to fight back, but he's completely outnumbered. He's good, but he's one man against the entire world government machine.
He hears the enemy has breached the castle, and his first and only thought is Shuri. He has to get to her. He has to uphold his promise. Not his duty to the crown, but his promise to the girl.
He fights his way there, cutting down everyone in his path, probably expecting to find her cornered or captured or worse. The panels are frantic, desperate. He's pushing his body to the limit. He bursts into the throne room, and that's when we get back to where we started.
The war is over, but not in the way he expected. King Reuven is dead on the floor.
And he's changed. We get a close-up panel. He's not just dead, he's transformed, just like Shuri. He has the same horns, the same tattered wings. Whatever this is, it affected the whole royal bloodline. It wasn't just Shuri. The king was turning too.
And Shuri is just standing there, not crying, not screaming, just standing over her father's body with this eerie glow in her eyes. The blood on her sword tells us everything we need to know.
And there are two other people in the room, just watching. We don't get a good look at them, but they're there. Silhouettes. One is tall and slender, the other is shorter, bulkier. They're standing off to the side, like spectators at a play. They saw the whole thing.
This is the part that raises so many questions. Who are they? They don't seem to be Marines. Their silhouettes are strange, almost inhuman. Are they the ones who caused this? Did they offer Shuri some kind of deal?
Or were they just there to witness it? Like you said, it's creepy. Shuri then turns to Brook with this horrifying new form and just says, "The war is over now. You should be glad."
That line is absolutely chilling. There's no malice in it. It's not a villainous boast. It sounds matter-of-fact, as if she has performed a painful but logical calculation. The king is dead, the royal line is broken in this monstrous way, therefore the world government has no one left to make an example of. The invasion will stop. She did something necessary.
Did she kill her own father? It looks like it. But why? To end the war? Was he turning into some kind of uncontrollable monster and she had to put him down? Did she make a deal with those two figures to save the kingdom and the price was her father's life and her own humanity? I have no idea, but it's an absolutely super class cliffhanger. It reframes everything.
Okay, but think about what this means. This transformation, the horns, the wings, we've seen features like this before, but scattered. Magellan has horns and wings, but that's his devil fruit. The Onimaru, the monk from Wano, can transform into a winged creature. But this seems different. The fact that she and her father manifested it suggests it's genetic. It seems like a racial trait that was dormant.
A whole kingdom of people with latent demon powers? Like an entire race we've never heard of? And the smog was what, a trigger? Or was the smog a weapon designed to force this transformation out into the open?
It could be. What if the world government, or some shadowy faction within it, knew about this potential? What if the whole conflict, the demand for slaves, was just a pretext to invade and either witness or harness this transformation? They put the royal family under extreme stress, physical, emotional, environmental, to force a metamorphosis.
So they push the kingdom to the breaking point on purpose, just to see what happens. That is exactly the kind of evil, messed up science experiment the world government would run. It feels like Punk Hazard or O'Hara all over again, destroying a nation not just for power, but for knowledge, for a secret.
And those two figures, their presence feels deliberate. They're not soldiers. They look like observers, maybe even scientists from MADS or a similar group. Or something worse. They could be agents of Imu-sama, tasked with monitoring specific bloodlines from the Void Century.
Like members of the Holy Knights? We still don't really know what they do other than serve the celestial dragons directly. Maybe their job is to handle special cases. And a royal family that can turn into demons definitely counts. Or what if they're even older? Agents who've been watching this family for generations.
A royal family that can manifest demonic abilities would certainly qualify as a special case. It also calls back to the idea of lineages. Sanji and his genetically modified family, the Lunarians and their godlike powers, the Fishmen. The world government has always been obsessed with bloodlines and unique racial traits they can't control. This feels like another piece of that puzzle. Perhaps Esperia was another one of the 20 kingdoms, but one that was cast out or went into hiding because of this power.
This just adds a whole new layer to Brook's past. He didn't just lose his home to a simple invasion. He lost it to some kind of horrifying conspiracy that twisted the people he loved into monsters. No wonder he was so traumatized. He didn't just see his king die, he saw his little sister, the princess he swore to protect, become the one holding the bloody sword. That's a wound that never, ever heals.
And he never spoke of it. Not once. Not to the Rumbar pirates, not to Laboon, not to us. He buried this memory so deep. The memory of Shuri with wings and horns telling him it was all over. His entire goofy, pervy persona must be, in part, a shield built over this profound trauma.
This is one of Oda's best tragedies, and it's not even over. We still don't know what happened to Shuri, or who those figures were, or what Brook did next. This flashback has me completely hooked. He had to have escaped, obviously, but how? And what happened to her?
I agree. The emotional weight is immense. Brook's entire persona is built on top of this unresolved horror. His fear of being alone, his deep desire for companionship. It all makes so much more sense now.
Absolutely. My head is just spinning with theories. Is this transformation from a devil fruit? Is it a hidden race we've never heard of? I just can't land on one single idea.
All right, let's move on to predictions for chapter 1186. What do you see happening right at the start of the next chapter?
Okay, prediction 1. We open on Brook's face. pure horror, and he just screams Shuri's name and charges. He's not thinking, he's just reacting to the trauma. He promised to protect her, and in his mind, this thing isn't her, but Shuri will stop him effortlessly. Not with a sword, but with some new terrifying power related to her transformation. She'll just hold up a hand and he'll be frozen in place, maybe by some kind of sound dampening field or shadow manipulation, showing the immense gap in their power levels now.
That's a strong opening. It emphasizes his emotional state. I'll offer a different take for my first prediction. I don't think Brook attacks. I think he's frozen in shock, unable to process what he's seeing, and one of the two mysterious figures speaks. They'll address Shuri, calling her by a title, not a name, something like, "The vessel is complete," or "The ritual is a success." They will completely ignore Brook, treating him like an insect, and that casual dehumanization will be what snaps him into action. It frames the conflict not just as being between Brook and Shuri, but Brook against these shadowy observers.
Ooh, I like that. That's cold. For my second prediction, I think we get a very brief one-page flashback within the flashback. It'll be from Shuri's point of view, showing the moment she made her choice. We'll see her talking to her father as he's succumbing to the transformation, writhing in pain, and he'll be the one who asks her to kill him, to preserve their kingdom's honor and save their people from what he's about to become. The act of murder was an act of love and mercy.
An act of mercy. I can see that. It would align with the themes of noble sacrifice we've seen in other kings. For my second prediction, I'm going to focus on the smog. I predict we will learn that the smog was a side effect of a devil fruit awakening, not from Shuri, but from her mother, Queen Candelle. Her death wasn't from sickness, but from her body giving out after her fruit, perhaps a logia of some kind, like the gas fruit's predecessor, or a strange paramecia, awakened in a desperate attempt to protect the kingdom. The smog was the result of that power running wild without a conscious user after her death, a lingering, tragic echo of her final effort.
Whoa, that would recontextualize everything. It wasn't an attack, it was a tragedy born from a mother's love. It makes it even more devastating. That's a great theory. Okay, for my final prediction, I think Brook is defeated, not by Shuri, but by the two figures. They'll reveal they are from a special unit of Cipher Pol, maybe even a precursor to it we've never heard of, tasked with containing or eliminating threats from unique lineages for the world government. They will capture Shuri, and as they're taking her away, she will look back at Brook and with a single glowing eye, subtly use her power to help him escape the burning kingdom, giving him one last gift of freedom.
I agree. My final prediction also involves Brook's escape. I think Shuri in her transformed state is now emotionally detached. She won't help him. The castle will begin to collapse around them from the fighting and fires. Brook will be pinned under rubble, about to die, but he'll be saved by the surviving members of the convoy guards, Candelle's old comrades. They'll tell him he has to live to carry the memory of Esperia's song, forcing him to flee while they stay behind for a final, hopeless stand. He doesn't just escape, he's made to carry their legacy, making his later quest with the Rumbar pirates to deliver their final song to Laboon a thematic parallel. He is a man who is always left to carry the final song.